Yo, what up guys, Coach Dan here, and I teach you how to build a new school physique by using old school bodybuilding principles. In this video, I want to talk about 5 exercises that will build you symmetry, true symmetry. So this is actually a topic I'm going to be going in depth in my course that I'm going to be launching pretty soon. This is going to be the best course you've ever seen because it's old school bodybuilding with a new twist. Now this is something that I wish that, Frank Zane or Arnold, even Samir would have released, because it is literally the old school bodybuilding, encyclopedia all in one. This is something I would actually buy. It has a year's worth of programming that you can follow for an entire, pretty much a year. Gonna take you by the hand. I'm gonna be holding you by the freaking hand every step of the way. How to build the illusion, symmetry, how to calculate macros, how to build old school chest, literally all that stuff and freaking more. So I'm gonna be super pumped to be launching that pretty soon. Anyways, let's talk about 5 exercises that will build you symmetry. So what is symmetry? What is true symmetry? Now, Frank Zane reports from Larry Scott that true symmetry is the prefilled muscle groups, like the shoulders, the lats, the forearms, the waistline, and the calves. Those are 5 muscle groups. We're gonna be getting into what type of exercises to do for those muscle groups. So Frank Zane also talks about, working muscles that aren't the prefilled muscles, like the traps, the quads, the butt. Like, these muscles don't build symmetry. They give you that sort of blocky type of look. And I think a lot of the new bodybuilders today, like Phil Heath or Kai Green and Big Ram and these guys, they don't really have symmetry because their end goal pretty much isn't really symmetry proportions. They just want to be bigger. Like, okay, I want to be bigger overall in every place. And that's sort of how that's how modern bodybuilding is. It's like, just look bigger everywhere. Just look bigger. Whereas in old school bodybuilding, it was about the illusion, bringing out specific muscle groups like the lateral head of the tricep, or bringing out the lower thigh with hack squats, or building more upper chest to get that square chest type of look, stuff like that. Now it's just like, do lots of this, lots of that, and bring up muscle groups, every single muscle group, lower chest, the upper chest, the middle chest, every part of the shoulder. Like, it's no longer about symmetry, no longer about proportions. So let's talk about exercises that will build symmetry. Now let's start with the lats. Now the whole idea is to build wide sweeping lats. I'm not talking about thickness. I'm talking about building wide sweeping lats. Like the silhouette. Like, Frank Zane is literally the silhouette. If you see his book Symmetry, you'll see that he's the freaking epitome of symmetry. The silhouette, the wide sweeping lats, the small waist, the wide wonderful delts, the thick forearms, and the juicy calves. So lats. Now, I believe the lats, to achieve true symmetry, can be worked through 2 different types of exercises. You can do any type of chin, any type of pull-up, it's wide, medium, close, it doesn't really matter. And you can do pull-downs. I mean, if you can't do pull-ups, pull-downs is fine too. You can also do, for the lower lats, because it is wide sweeping lats that tie into the waist. Actually, I want to talk, one last thing I want to say before, I start getting to that, all that detailed stuff. But some really good examples of people who have great symmetry would include like Frank Zane, Vince Giron is an absolutely fantastic one, Steve Reeves. All these guys have really, really good symmetry. Make sure you study them. But wide sweeping lats, underhand pull downs, or underhand rows. These exercises will build a lot of lower lats. And I know it all depends on genetics, but to a degree, we have to take, sort of this bro science into account, because, I did a lot of underhand pull downs, I did a lot of underhand rows, and I was able to build a pretty good lower lats, but it all depends on your own genetics. So that's another subject for another video. But let's talk about, wide wonderful delts. So the whole point isn't to build, big round 3D coconut delts like some of the bodybuilders are today, because they're out of proportion. The whole idea is just to build wide wonderful delts, just wide. So how do you do that? That can be done through any type of ladder raise. Seated, incline, standing ladder raise, cable ladder raise, machine ladder raise, it doesn't really matter. But the whole idea is to build wide, wonderful delts. Also, don't forget not to be a surfboard. Now, Vince Giron talks about this. I think it's in the Wild Physique, where he talks about working the rear delts. A man can look good from the front, but turn to the side. Is he a surfboard? You turn to the side and he's flat from the back. Now, this used to be me, and then I brought up my rear delts, and now I no longer have that issue. But this could be you. Now, working the rear delts can be done through a number of different exercises. You can do the, rear cable, what is it called? The rear delt fly. You can do that if your lower back can't handle bent over laterals, because that's tough in the lower back too. You can do bent over cable laterals. all this, even wider bros might even hit the rear delts to a degree, but I wouldn't recommend that one. Now let's talk about building thick forearms. Now the forearms can be, and as you may notice, we're building a lot of width in the physique. We're not talking about, you know, a lot of thickness. We're talking about width. Wide lats. We're making, you know, us look bigger. Symmetry. V-taper. The same thing with the shoulders. We're not building thickness. We're building width. And as you might notice as I get into the forearms too, we're building width as well too. So the forearms can work from two different angles. You have the inside and the outside. Inside can be done through underhand wrist curls, and the outside can be done through reverse barbell curls, reverse easy bar curls, reverse cable curls. All those exercises will work the forearms, the in and out. Again, we're building width. You get this wider. That's exactly the type of look we're going for to build symmetry. That's also part of the illusion, because what we're doing is that we're making these muscles look wider to make joints look smaller. But that's another topic for another video. That's the illusion itself. But also, now let's get into the waistline. The waistline can be worked through a few different exercises. Now, what you don't want to do is start working the hip flexors. Now, this is something Larry Scott talks about in his Loaded Guns book, where he does not like, you know, lying leg raises or hanging leg raises, because it works the hip flexors a lot. And I was doing, you know, lying leg raises the other day. I felt it a lot on my hip flexors. My abs weren't getting to work. My hip flexors were like cramping up like crazy. That's not efficient, because bodybuilding is an isolation sport. So then how do you do it? Now there's a number of different exercises you can do. You can do sort of a crunch. That might be a pretty good one too. There's also this crunch machine that also kind of like, Larry Scott talks about, you know, in his Loaded Guns book, where it's like, if you have your legs up in the air, or the knees aren't moving, and your upper body's just doing the work, that will really contract the abs. So this is a machine that I have, you know, at my gym. Now my legs are up like in the air like this, and you hook onto like the side thing. I can't remember what it's called, like this bar. You put your legs to this bar, and it keeps them stable so that your legs don't move. And you just go up and down, up and down. That works pretty good for the abs. You can do vacuums. Vacuums would keep the waistline really, really tight. It works as a natural corset. I wouldn't recommend using any type of, you know, these sweatbands or these corsets that men buy just to keep their waist small, because what it does is that it'll shrink the organs down. It'll suck all the water out. What happens when you stop using the corset? All the water gets sucked back in, because you drink water, and again, the waist expands. So doing vacuums will act as a natural corset over a period of time. Also, dieting down will also, you know, decrease the size of your waist to make it look smaller. And again, like having a V-taper in general, just working on the lats, you know, the width of the lats and the width of the shoulders will give you that V-taper and actually give the illusion that your waist is smaller. But again, that is a topic for another video. I have a couple more ideas on that as well. Not going to be releasing in my course. Next one, let's talk about the last one, which is, you know, thick calves, big calves. We're talking about width of the calves. Now, when we talk about calf exercise, there's only two pretty much muscle groups that you can really work. Well, there's three, but I want to talk about, actually, let's talk about all three. So three, sorry. So we have the standing calf raise. The standing calf raise works the gastrocnemius, which is the thickness part of the calf, the really thick part. And I think this one you want to work the most, just because you literally get most of the size from working this muscle group. You also have the soleus, which is the side one that sort of connects into the ankle. There's the soleus. That can be worked through any type of seated calf raise. I think you can put dumbbells on your knees and do seated calf raise. You can take the Smith machine, put your knees under it, do seated calf raise, use the seated calf raise machine. And I'm sorry, I don't think I gave enough examples for the standing calf raise. You can also do donkey calf raises, leg press calf raises, rotary calf raises, Smith machine calf raises, standing calf raises, all those exercises. You know, one-legged calf raise, all those exercises will work very effectively for building big calves. And also, one last thing again, because we're talking about width here. You know, except for the waistline, we're trying to make it smaller, so, you know, decrease the width. So when it comes to width of the calves, there's also another muscle group that will help build the width. I believe the muscle group is called the tibialis. I can't remember what it's called, but it's literally the shin part of your, you know, just your shin. And you can work it through a number of different exercises. Like there's a machine for it, and you can also take a kettlebell and just go up and down, you know, with your foot, and that works with tibialis pretty well. And when you get that shin part really developed, you know, if you look at examples like Frank Zanes is a pretty good example who someone has that. He's a good example of someone who has that muscle well developed, because it makes his calves look really, really wide. Because, you know, for someone of Frank Zanes, you know, body mass, he has pretty good calves, you know, pretty good, damn good calf development. And I think it's because a lot of it contributes to that shin part and how it's really well developed and it looks very, very wide. Again, this man is well known for symmetry, so you take notes from that guy. But guys, hope you enjoyed this video. One last thing I want to say before I go is that my Silver Era Secrets ebook is going to be outdated pretty soon, meaning I'm going to be getting rid of it forever, just because I feel it's not serving people at its highest potential, and I think this course would do so much better at serving people, and that's what I want to do. I want to create impact. I want to, you know, transform people into the best physique they've ever seen in their life. So guys, with that being said, subscribe for more videos like this. Give this video a thumbs up. Thanks for watching. I'm Old School Dan. I'm gone. Peace.